Hey guys, Marauder here with my friend Sandalphan, and we're going to be talking about two movies actually this time that we have seen recently. One of them we saw about a week or two ago, the other one we just got back from, and very excited to talk about that one.
Oh, yeah.
So, the first movie we're going to be talking about is a movie called Killer Elite, starring Clive Owen and Jason Statham.
How did you not list Statham first?
Because Clive Owen was the first one that came into my head when I was trying to remember this, since it was a week ago.
Yes. Robert De Niro was in it, too.
Yes, Robert De Niro is also in it, somewhat.
He does one cool thing in it.
Yes, he is. I actually did like his character.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically about a character played by Jason Statham, whose name I can't remember.
Don't even pretend his characters ever have names other than Jason Statham.
I know. Just like in The Mechanic or The Transporter, it's always...
Yeah, you don't think of them as anything else other than Jason Statham.
Yeah. But basically, he plays this... he's like a highly...
He's a merc.
Yeah, he's a mercenary.
Him and Robert De Niro are mercs.
And they end up... Basically, he wants out. At the beginning of the movie, they do this job, and he's just like, I'm done. I can't handle this anymore. And he gets out.
He ends up killing He kills a guy. He kills their target right in front of his own son, who was in the car with him, and that got to him.
Yeah,
you know.
So suddenly that's enough. But whatever.
Because he's a merc, but he has standards, you know?
So years pass, and he's building a house in the middle of fucking nowhere by himself, which...
Yes.
Okay. And then he gets a letter or something saying that his... Was it his dad or just like a friend?
Robert De Niro was just his friend.
Okay, yeah. Played by Robert De Niro had been... Basically is being held for ransom because he has to do this job, otherwise they're going to kill him. So he goes and meets with the guy, and they try to break out, but it fails.
Yeah, I like that scene.
Yes, I did too.
Yeah, the way they shot that was really good.
And essentially, he gets a new target.
He gets hired by this sheik to hire 3 guys in a that were once members of a British military unit. I don't remember what it was. What was it? Do you remember?
It was some deep secret military organization.
Yeah, it was
nobody was supposed to know about.
It was a really highly renowned British military unit, but they personally killed 3 of his 4 sons, and the last one kind of helps him get by because he's got one foot in the grave at this point. He's hooked up to a dialysis machine all the time.
Yeah, essentially he just wants Statham to go out, murder these 4 guys. Or 3 guys. 3 guys, whatever. Videotape the confessions to make sure that they did it, and then that would bring honor back to his family name or something.
And then, yeah.
So that's basically the movie. He goes around, he sets up these... But he has to make it look like an accident. He can't... It has to look like he's not involved. So
yeah,
he sets up these...
Even though he gets a videotape confession. But, you know.
Yeah, whatever. So he sets up these overly elaborate ways to kill them. Well, actually,
the
first guy was actually not that bad of an idea to
yeah,
break the tile in the bathroom, or find similar tile, break it into and form it around a hammer, and then just hit him in the back of the head with it.
Yeah, so it looks like he fell in the shower.
That
was good.
Yeah,
no, I like the last one they did where they got the truck to lose control and crash into the guy's car. I thought that was cool.
I don't remember that part.
Really? Where they had that whole thing where they were driving down the highway and they had to be within a certain range of the truck, otherwise they would.
Right, and he remote controlled it.
Yeah, he remote controlled the truck into the guy's car.
Yeah, okay.
That's where Clive Owen found out about them.
I know. Anyway, Clive Owen basically is a member of the...
another member of this British military unit who was forced to retire. I think it was an accident. Or it's some kind an on-the-job injury that they made him retire. But now he's a member.
He starts to piece together. Basically, he starts to piece together that these deaths, these accidents aren't accidents. At which point he starts to investigate it, and that's when Statham and him kind of start clashing. But it's not like in...
The trailers make it look like they're on each other's asses the entire time.
And they're not.
They're not. They don't even meet until...
It's much more in tune with a movie like X vs. Sever or War, where it's they don't really meet up till the end of the movie. The whole rest of the movie is just them trying to find each other and one-up each other, which is good.
Yeah, it wasn't
interesting.
bad.
Yeah. Overall, the plot was kind of... some of the positives. I like the acting. I thought it was all right. The action was pretty good. The plot was all right once you could figure it out.
Yeah.
We had to actually sit and talk about it for a minute.
Yeah, we were talking about it like for a good 20 minutes after we walked out, just trying to exactly piece together exactly what happened.
Yeah. But once we sat down and, like, the movie was over and we sat in the theater for a minute and we said, okay, this happened because of this and this happened. It's not like we're idiots. It's just like there was so much going on and there's like 4 different parties all jockeying for position in this whole thing. Yeah. That it was kind of hard to keep track of who was with what group and what was exactly their motives. And
it was Statham and De Niro as one. It was the Sheik is on his own side, basically. Clive Owen was initially part of this larger group, but then they split off into their own thing. It got really complicated at points.
But it told a pretty interesting story based on a true story.
Yes.
And it was... I thought it was interesting. I liked it. It wasn't great, but it was solid. I didn't hate it. Some of the negatives, though, well, one really big one that I just can't get over is I hate shaky cam in fight scenes. Like, I understand that it's the whole trend right now ever since Born Identity, I think, started it.
I haven't even seen those movies.
Yeah, they are, the camera shakes and then you see a punch, but you don't really see it. And
oh, God, the action scenes.
A
lot of these action scenes are horrendously shot in
the
this
car
movie.
chases that were edited together so poorly.
God, that car chase. There's a scene where Clive Owen almost catches Jason Statham at a hospital. And they have this car chase where Statham basically just leads him around the block and then parks right back into the same parking space he was in before and then runs back into the hospital, which is funny, but the car chase part of it is terribly shot.
It's terribly shot.
It's all over the place. It's like they took 2 cars, put them in a bag, put a camera in the bag and just threw it down the stairs with how much you can tell where everything is in relation to everything else.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the fight scenes, too, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like, originally, I thought that scene in the trailer where Jason Statham backflips a chair into a guy was in the trailer because it was cool. And it is. But it's also in the trailer because it's one of the very few scenes in an action scene you can tell what's going on.
Yeah. I mean... If you get invested in the story, there is a lot of interesting stuff to watch here. But in terms of action, it was very poorly done, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know about that. It's like you can tell there's awesome things happening. You just can't really see them.
Yeah, you just can't see it because the camera's going like this.
And some of the lighting's not that great at points.
Yeah, the lighting's not that great, but overall, it was all right. It's one of those movies you're gonna if you see it and then you're just gonna kind of forget about it until somebody brings it up in idle conversation. Yeah. At which point you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I saw that. That was all right."
Yeah,
and that's all you can really say about it. It's hard to discuss it because it's just okay. Like
I would recommend renting it once it comes out.
Yeah, give it a watch. I mean, it is, like I said, it is based on a true story, and it is an interesting true story.
Yes.
So there is something to watch here, but it's just not that well shot.
I kind of wish Robert De Niro had more to do in hindsight.
Yeah.
He's really not in this movie all that much. The entire reason that Jason Statham is doing anything is because he gets kidnapped, and he gets out, but then after he does... he kind of goes way off the radar for the rest of the movie, except for one really cool sequence in the subway.
Which was one of the few action scenes you could tell what was going on.
Yes, that also.
So that helped.
Overall, I really like De Niro in this movie.
Yeah.
Getting back to his roots.
Yeah, I like De Niro. I think all the actors did well with what they had. It wasn't terrible. But, I don't know. Overall, I would say rent it.
Yeah,
Not much else can really be said. I'd give it probably a solid 6 out of 10.
Yeah. If you like Jason Statham movies, you're probably going to like this one.
Yeah, I like Jason Statham movies a lot. War, Transporter, Crank.
The Transporter and Crank series are
great. They're all good. The Mechanic I really enjoyed. Like, they're all solid movies. And this is another just solid movie. Yes. It's nothing special, but if you're in the mood, it'll do.
Yes.
So, yeah. Thumbs up but you really got to know what you're in for. It's not the best movie out there. what is the best movie
Yes,
out there
what
right
is
now
great
is the next movie we're going to talk about. Go ahead.
Drive!
I love this movie.
We just saw Drive!
I love this movie.
Drive was amazing!
I love this movie.
I don't have anything bad to say about Drive.
I don't.
Drive was fantastic.
There's not a single thing wrong with it.
Oh.
Not a single thing wrong with it.
No. Nothing I would change about this movie at all.
Nope. Every scene had a purpose. Every actor hit his spot perfectly. The dialogue was fantastic. The amount of just... There were scenes that were so chock full of tension and just amazing, amazing suspense.
Yes.
And then... Okay, it's really hard to talk about this movie, Drive.
Yeah.
Because it's the kind of movie you cannot tell anybody about. You have to just go and see this.
You need to see it.
So, let me just put it this way. This is the way I kind of described it to myself. If anybody had seen Inglourious Basterds, there are moments in that movie where there is a lot going on, but nothing is happening. Like, there are characters sitting around a table talking, and you slowly start to understand where the conversation's going. And it builds this tension. And then, boom, there's an action scene, it's over.
Yes.
That's exactly like this movie. He's sitting in the car. Nothing is happening. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening yet.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah. It's not that nothing is happening. There are things happening, but it's very subtle.
Like I said, there's a lot going on, but nothing is happening. Like, it's just a guy sitting in a car. But there's more... There's so much to that.
Yes.
Like, it's really hard to describe. There is so much to him sitting in his car.
I know.
That drives me insane, and you can sit there and just...
I know. He has this amazing 1,000-yard stare in this movie. It is...
You don't, like...
It tells you so much without him saying anything or barely even emoting.
He is... Okay. He doesn't even have a name.
Yeah, they don't name him. He's just the driver.
In the credits, he's just
movie.
listed as driver. His character does not have a name. And yet, he is one of the best characterized actor in a movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, there is depth to this character. This guy's got a past.
This is the... But you don't know...
But you don't know what it is.
You learn nothing. You learn nothing about him.
Yeah.
Like, beyond what you see. Which makes his character that much more interesting. It's kind of like what happened in Star Wars. Once you learn where Darth Vader came from, he's less interesting as a character.
I just try and block that out.
Me too. But, you know, it's you don't need to see it.
No.
It's there in front of you.
Yes.
And it's the most amazing... It's really hard to talk about this movie because it's so
I know,
because
you don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
No, I can't describe it.
Yeah, I know.
It's the kind of movie.
It's like one of those things where you try and think of a way to talk about it, but nothing really... Excuse me. Nothing seems to do it justice. Like, any kind of definition you could give it. I've kind of been thinking about it as... A lot of people have been trying to say it's a deconstruction of, like, Jason Statham movies, like The Transporter, but that doesn't do it justice. I've been thinking of it as a deconstruction of 80s car chase movies in general, but that doesn't really do it justice fully either.
I have nothing negative to say, but
No.
I have a lot of positive things to say.
Yes.
There are two things that really stood out to me in this movie, outside of the acting, which is the normal thing you would point at. Mm-hmm. One is the cinematography.
Oh, this movie...
This better get a freaking Oscar as far as I'm concerned.
This movie is a master of visual storytelling, and it doesn't treat you like an idiot at all in this movie. Like, it'll show you things, and it can leave you to just kind of assume what's going on at the time, and you can.
There's this one scene where he's in the garage talking to his friend, in this car garage, and then it just crossfades very slowly, and he's walking down a hallway, and you don't really know where he is. You find out he's actually at a strip club. Again, that's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to keep this as spoiler-free as I can.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we talk about movies a lot.
I mean, we ruin, like, everything in, like, every review we do, but this is one that you have to see.
No,
but anyway,
I want this to make as much money as possible.
They crossfade into a strip club, but there's no establishing shot. Like, they don't show you the outside of the building. They don't show you a sign. They don't show you a stripper walking past him. Granted, there is a girl in the hallway, but she's on her iPod, like, whatever.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, she could just be...
Yeah, she could just be somebody.
Yeah.
And he just goes, where's Nino? Or what was his name? Charles. Whatever. Whoever he was looking for.
Cook.
Cook, right.
Where's Cook?
And she goes, he's in there. And he goes, where is there? She points. He just walks in and just starts beating the guy with a hammer. It's incredible.
In this room full of strippers.
In this room full of strippers. And they don't react. And they're just like...
Oh, yeah.
They're just like
I've never seen a room full of of women quite this jaded before.
It is one of the most amazing scenes. It's very flat. Like, there's just this shot of everybody in the room, and he just walks in and just starts beating on the guy. There's no, like, behind-the-shoulder thing. There's no, like... It's just one straight, dead shot.
Yeah.
And he walks in and... I mean, there's so much more than just that, but the shots of the city, the shots of the car chases where the camera stays in the car the majority of the time.
That's it. One of my favorite visual cues of this movie is right in that opening getaway sequence when he's driving down this back alley, and you see this car come from behind this parked truck, and it has a light coming out of it, and it's only there for like a split second, but you can immediately tell that it's a police car. And he immediately parks behind this truck. And that scene was great. Because it was so quick, and you could immediately tell what was happening.
The way these chases are shot, it's some of the best car chases I've seen in a long, long time. We were talking Killer Elite, how poorly they were put together. This movie nailed everything.
Yes.
There is nothing you would want more in these chases. The other thing that just blew my mind was how little his character said. He has maybe enough dialogue to fill 2 pages double-spaced.
Yeah.
Like, that's his whole script. And yet, there's so much depth to him.
Yeah.
And there's a moment... No, you know what? I won't even talk about the moment in the diner. I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, no, yeah.
No,
There's a moment in a diner that establishes so much about his character and his prior history before this. It's
you have
masterful.
To be watching for it, because it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But it says everything.
One of my favorite shots about his character was when he's walking out of the supermarket, and he looks over at something off camera, and then he goes back to unlocking his car, but then he puts his bag of groceries on top of the car, and he walks over, and it's this woman who lives like in the next apartment over from him, and she's having car trouble. Her hood is up, and then it immediately cuts to her and her son and him holding their groceries in the elevator back of their apartment.
Yeah, nothing needs to be said there.
Nothing needs to be said about that.
Like, this movie is very good at the storytelling in this visually. It doesn't explain anything. It doesn't tell you anything. It just shows you everything.
Yes.
And you have to piece it together yourself. It doesn't treat the audience like idiots. It's, you know, don't go into this movie expecting anything. Don't expect anything.
That woman that started.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Don't expect anything going in. I had no expectations.
Oh, me either.
I had seen a lot of reviews before going to see this. Some negative, some positive.
Yeah.
And when a movie has conflicting views like that, I generally like to see it just to figure
out which side of the fence you're on.
Yes, and
it's not exactly a polarizing film, but
yeah, this is not a movie for everybody. I will say that.
Yeah.
There are going to be people who aren't going to like this movie.
Oh yeah.
And I can understand that.
Yes.
Because they probably went in expecting Fast and the Furious, like somebody we're going to about to talk to in just a second. But if you go in just expecting a movie,
yes.
Okay, and you leave yourself open to what it's showing you, and you piece it together properly as you go along, which isn't hard. I mean, this is no Inception, people. This is a pretty straightforward movie.
Yes.
It is by far the best movie I have seen all year.
Oh, yeah. Unless something amazing, mind-boggling. Comes out in the next 2 months. This is my top pick of the year 2.
Yes, I can't. Like we said when we started. Oh,
I
the other thing. Wait, before we talk about the woman,
I don't want to talk about that yet.
I know, but the acting was great. The cinematography was great, but there was something else that really pulled it all together.
The soundtrack in this movie is amazing. It gives song.
I want to take a moment. Just one sec. I want to take a moment before we get into the music because this is going to take a while. Just give a nod to the costume designer.
Oh yeah.
This guy's jacket. I want this guy's jacket.
The silver Scorpio jacket with a pop collar.
Yes.
I don't know how he pulls that off so well.
It's so 80s. And the driver gloves.
And the leather driving
gloves.
Yeah.
Oh.
And those golden shoes he's got too.
Yeah, the gold shoes.
But the soundtrack. Every song in this movie gave me chills hearing it.
Yes.
If this movie doesn't get nominated for Best Soundtrack in the Oscars of whatever category that is, I'm sure there is one.
Best soundtrack.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Best theatrical soundtrack.
Okay. I knew there was one.
I know there's a music.
Wasn't one.
I know there's a music one.
If it doesn't at least get nominated, I'm giving up on the Oscars forever.
It's very, we've done a lot of reviews like this where we sit on this couch and we talk. We rarely ever mention the music in a movie. I think the last time I mentioned the music in a movie was when my friend Phoenix923 and I spoke on the Tron movie. That was the last time I mentioned the soundtrack in a movie.
That was about a year ago?
That is how good this soundtrack is, that it deserves mention, that it just sucked you in.
Yeah.
And just... It played so well to the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And everything. And just... There are moments in this movie of absolute silence that do their part, and then there's parts where the music kicks in, and it's perfect.
It's got this really incredible retro neo-80s synth music going on.
Yeah, it's very 80s. If you guys ever played Grand Theft Auto Vice City, that's kind of how it comes off. It feels very much like the soundtrack for that game. It's really hard to describe it outside of that.
Yeah.
But yes, it is by far one of the best movie soundtracks I have ever heard of in my life.
Oh, I'm buying it as soon as I get paid.
As soon as I can find it, because we went to a local store just now to look for it, and they didn't have it. But I will find this soundtrack.
Yes.
So, that is all I will say.
Yes.
This
is proof that they do still make good movies in Hollywood. I know that I saw this was based off of a book in the opening credits, but even so.
This is how you do it. You know, I haven't read the book at all.
I didn't even know it was based on a book until I saw the opening credits.
Yeah, I had no idea. But this is how you do a movie. This is it. This should be taught in film classes. Yes. This is incredible. And
this isn't just a movie. This is an experience.
Just to speak on our credentials here, we're not professional film critics.
No.
We're two guys that go out to movies to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, I'm just a guy who yells at movie screens when they displease him. I'm not a critic.
Yeah, and we could sit there and watch, action schlock like Captain America and enjoy it.
Drive Angry.
Drive Angry, exactly, with Nicolas Cage. That was just
ridiculous.
Movies.
They gotta make more movies with Drive in the title. Yeah. It seems to be a lucky charm this year.
And that was also a lot of fun.
Yes.
This is not a fun movie. It is fun to watch. But I mean, there's so much depth to this movie.
I know.
That goes beyond what you normally see in theaters. It's not this summer blockbuster schlock they throw out. This is a well-thought-out, well-paced, well-shot, well-edited, well-acted movie that just deserves every bit of praise it gets.
Yeah.
And I do not understand how anybody watching this movie as a professional film critic can even begin to talk about this movie in a negative light.
I know.
It blows my mind how good this movie is.
Like I just said it. This is not just a movie. This is an experience.
This is an all-engrossing, polarizing experience.
Yeah. Like
that is worth every penny. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
I don't care how much the ticket costs. Like, I don't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. Usually, you know, with Green Lantern, we walked back and went, we paid $8 for what? For that shit? You know, and we bitch about it because we paid good money for it.
Yeah.
And we expect something entertaining at least. This not only was entertaining, but was so much more.
I just saw Real Steel last week with my brother, and I got a feeling out of it like I got everything I wanted out of seeing Real Steel, and me and my brother both really liked Real Steel. But this movie, you get that sense of satisfaction that you got everything you wanted and so much more.
Yes. I don't know what to say. Like, what really is a shame, when we went to see this movie, there were only 2 showings at the theater we were going to go to.
And both late as hell.
Yeah, and both were really late at night, which is not a good sign.
No.
So...
And then when we got in there...
Yeah, when we got in there, that was it. There was 3 of us, my friend LZF, Sandalphan, and I, and then some other random guy.
Then one other guy who walked in about 5 minutes late.
Yeah. Like, we almost had the theater to ourselves. And after seeing this movie, I don't understand why. This should be pulling in, you know, full theater-sized crowds to watch this. This is something very just mind-blowingly good. And people complain about, you know, just a lot of stupid movies and no originality in Hollywood. None of this and none of that.
And no one's going to see
Drive.
nobody's
seeing this.
How long has Drive been out anyway? 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I don't think it's even been a month, and it's going to be on DVD probably before Christmas.
This is the sleeper hit of the year.
Yeah, if this doesn't get any Oscar nominations, I'm going to be really pissed.
This is going to hit DVD, and nobody's going to buy it. And over time...
This is a cult classic waiting to
over
happen.
the time, it's just going to evolve, and people are going to discover it slowly, and then it's going to become, like, as well... Well, I won't say as well respected, but it will gain its audience far later, which is a shame. You know, this is the kind of movie that you walk out of, and you got everything you wanted.
Yeah.
And you don't feel cheated. The movie didn't feel rushed. Didn't feel like there were any scenes missing or any scenes needed to be added. And like I said, the main character says less than 2 pages of dialogue in this whole movie. And yet, he is one of the most compelling, well-rounded characters I've ever seen in a movie, in terms of character development. He's developed so well within the movie's time frame.
And you know nothing about him.
You know nothing walking out. You don't even know his name. But you you feel like you got a glimpse of him as a person.
Yes.
It's really hard to explain.
Yeah, see it.
Just
go see it if you have the opportunity.
All right. 10 out of 10. 2 thumbs up.
Very much, yes.
Amazing movie. I cannot say enough about this movie, and this is a day 1 Blu-ray disc purchase for me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even care if the Blu-ray is like $40.
No,
I don't
buy
care.
It. Buy this movie. You will not regret it.
See it now while it's still in theaters. If you can't do that, at least rent it. At least try.
Yes, please. Give this movie a chance.
Now, there is one thing we wanted to bring up about this movie, a story that Sandalphan found.
I found it on the internet the other day before we'd even decided to see Drive. There's a woman in Michigan who is
where we live,
who is trying to sue the makers of Drive for false advertising. I guess her story is she saw the trailers to Drive and she was expecting something more along the lines of The Fast and the Furious. And she went to see it, and she walked out, and felt cheated, and a lawyer said, yes, I will take that case, that is something that needs to happen.
And so she's actively pursuing this. Now, here's the thing. Movie trailers are meant to do one thing. Well, 2 things. They're meant to hype you up, and get your ass in that seat.
Yes.
So, and they will do anything they want. If you remember the trailer for the first Paranormal Activity, all it was a shot of the audience Screaming.
Screaming.
That was the entire trailer. And then they just said, do you want to see this? Well, then you got to
go to this website.
Yeah, then go get it. Go see it. And that's what got me in the seat.
Yeah.
Now, I can understand where she would assume that it would be that style of movie. However, I do not understand how she can think she was cheated with a movie of this quality. Like I said, I know there's people who won't.
I know there's
like
different
this movie.
tastes. There's different tastes, and some people won't like, because this movie is admittedly a slow boiler. It takes its time. I thought it did it expertly, but it does take a little bit to get going. But try and sue the people who made it because you didn't like their movie, that's like
if you went. It's like if you sued a game company because their game was bad. So their game was bad.
Okay.
Like,
there has to be cheaper alternatives to this failed
endeavor. If she didn't like the movie, she has the option before the movie's over to get her money back.
Yeah.
You can walk out of a theater, and I've done it myself a couple times, where I've sat through part of a movie and I've gone, no, this isn't what I want to see. This isn't a movie for me. And I'll go get my money back, I'll see something else. So it's not like she didn't have immediate recourse. She sat through the entire movie, which means that she was, willing to sit through the entire movie. Because if she wasn't, she could have left. And she didn't. So she has no standing for a lawsuit in my eyes, because here in Michigan, that's the rule. As long as you don't sit through more than half the movie, you can get your money back.
I can't believe a lawyer looked at this and said, yes, this is a feasible option.
Yeah, she got a lawyer.
Sue.
She got a lawyer to back her up. That's what I can't
oh my God.
believe. But anyway, so, and like I said, not everybody's going to like this movie. I can understand that.
Yeah, I can accept that.
There are movies people like that I watch and I go, no, not for me. Everybody has different tastes, different likes and dislikes. So when I say go see this movie, I'm not saying it's like, for me, it's probably one of my favorite. It is one of my favorite films of all time.
Oh yeah, this is probably in my top 10 now.
Well, in my top 5 of myself personally. I really liked this movie. However, I can also understand that there are people out there who aren't going to like this. Yes. But I at least implore you to try.
Yes, please give it a chance. I want this to make as much money as possible.
As I've said on this channel before, I will not rate a movie or give my opinion on it if I have not seen it myself. And then, even then, it is nothing more than my opinion. If someone says a game is bad or a movie is bad, I will not say so myself until I've seen it. I will say, I've heard it's bad, I've heard mixed reviews, I've heard it's alright, or whatever. I will never say, that's a bad movie, that's a bad game, because I have not seen it. So it would be a lie to say something that I have no idea what it is. But I'm saying, for me, this is the perfect movie-going experience. Perfect. And I mean every bit of that. Nothing was missing. So, but again, not,
Yeah, different tastes.
Yeah, maybe not your cup of tea, but please, I implore you to at least
go
give
see
it a
Drive.
shot. At least give it a watch. And sit through the whole, I'd say sit through the whole thing, because it is a slow starter, and it does have a lot of build to it. But man, it's worth every second in my eyes. The payoff is incredible, and like I said, this is one of those movies that just shows the power of film.
Yes.
That just shows what you can do, and there's very little dialogue in this movie from anybody, really. I mean, the main character doesn't talk that much, but nobody really says a lot. There's just
the villains do.
The villains do, but I mean,
Bryan Cranston has a good amount of dialogue.
Bryan Cranston.
I love Bryan Cranston in this movie.
Yeah.
I love the villains in this movie.
Yeah, Ron Perlman. Wow.
Oh.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
So that was good. Everybody did well. Everybody in this movie did
Albert
well.
Brooks, the other villain.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
But yes, like I said, they don't. I've been repeating myself.
It's rambling at this point. Go see Drive.
Yes, see Drive. Two thumbs up. Four thumbs up. 10 stars. 20 stars. 100 stars.
1,000 stars.
A whole sky
all
of
the stars.
Yes, all the stars in the sky. Very, very much enjoyed this movie.
Yes.
Nothing negative to say. I cannot believe the theater was empty.
I know. That's goddamn depressing.
Yeah, it really is a shame. Anyway, alright, so, Killer Elite, you know, give it a shot if you're a fan of Clive Owen or Jason Statham. I'm sure or Robert De Niro.
Yes.
I'm sure you'll find stuff to like in that movie. It was quite good.
See Drive.
See Drive.
Give Drive a chance, please.
Please go to the theater, support this movie. If you don't like it, fine. At least you gave it a shot. That's more than I can say for most people who say they hate stuff when they don't even try it. But by far, my favorite movie of the year. I doubt anything's going to top this.
Yeah.
At least in 2011.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything.
There's only a couple months left, so I'm not...
I can't even think of anything, like, outside of this month that looks fantastic.
Yeah. I don't really see anything coming down the pipeline that really is as intriguing as this was. Yeah, and we knew nothing going in, so this was the best treat I could have paid for.
Oh, yeah.
But again, we're gushing.
Yeah,
we're gushing.
rambling.
We're rambling.
Go
gushing.
see Drive. Maybe see Killer Elite if you've got the time.
All right. Well, all right. So that's our reviews of Killer Elite and Drive. So thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you guys later.